Hey everyone, Lewis aka Spider-Man 991 here with another top 5 list. It has been at least a year, well over a year at the time of this recording, since DC launched their Rebirth initiative. And it has been a huge success. I think that Rebirth definitely renewed a lot of interest in DC comic book characters. It was a lot better than the New 52 because rather than starting over, Rebirth was built on the idea of DC embracing all of its legacy. And of course we got a bunch of new creative teams on different titles, and Action Comics and Detective Comics both resumed their original numbering, which was great. And needless to say, ever since Rebirth started, I honestly haven't really dropped a title since the whole relaunch started, which is phenomenal. So I thought I'd take this time, given that it's been over a year, to talk about my top 5 Rebirth titles. Number 5 on my list is Detective Comics. Now, I'm showing this on my iPad because the actual issue is in my comic book boxes and I really did not feel like digging through them just to pull it out for this one video. Alright, initially I was skeptical about this title. It was something that I wasn't sure if I wanted to get it. However, as the date got closer to the release, a lot of more people were hyped for it, mainly because I think the return of Tim Drake, plus we got classic characters like Stephanie Brown and Cassandra Cain as Orphan, and also Batwoman, and the intriguing idea that Clayface was going to be a part of this new team that Batman and Batwoman were putting together. So as it got more hyped, I figured I'd give it a shot, and I am glad I did, because it had a very fantastic opening arc that centered around Batwoman, which was great. In fact, almost every arc in Detective Comics has focused on a lesser-known member of the Bat family. And what I mean by that is, this is I think these characters are pretty popular amongst fans, but I don't think there is enough popularity that DC would give each of them their own ongoing series. Well, except for Batwoman, that's an exception. But eventually this brought in a lot more other lesser known Bat family members back in the spotlight. We got Batwing, Azrael, Spoiler, and like I said earlier, Cassandra Cain. In a way, I think that back in the 90s when there were like a lot of Bat family titles out there, I think those readers are definitely going to enjoy Detective Comics the most. Also the initial arc, it did renew my interest in Batwoman, a character that I haven't really read since her appearances in the weekly series 52. The first arc reminded me how awesome Tim Drake is as a character, which is something that I hadn't really felt for Tim Drake since the New 52 began. And of course the opening arc involved Tim Drake pretty much gave Tim Drake a couple of awesome moments. And right now though, Tim is kind of off the board until we get into this new arc that's going to happen in Detective this September, which will tie into the identity of the Mr. Oz character. So overall, if you are a member of the Bat family, and there are some characters in there that you feel like deserve their own title or recognition, then Detective Comics is definitely for you. Number 4 on my list is Wonder Woman. Okay, so Wonder Woman is a title that is a comic that I really didn't get in until about a few years ago. I think with the announcement of the movie, her appearance in BVS. I mean, I knew who Wonder Woman was, but the first time I ever really read a Wonder Woman comic was actually during the New 52. That's one of the positive things I have to say about the New 52 was its treatment of Wonder Woman, and Brian Azzarello and Cliff Chang's run is phenomenal. Now, this was the first time I actually decided to pick up Wonder Woman ongoing, and one of the things that did intrigue me was how it handled the twice a month scheduling. And it's interesting because the odd number to would feature a story arc told in the present, while even number ones focused on a story in the past. And of course they decided to begin the even numbered arc with another retelling of Diana's first year, leaving Themyscira and going into Man's World. And it was a really good idea, and the reason why is because it made me feel like I was getting 2 Wonder Woman titles every month, which is great because Wonder Woman is one of the members of the DC Trinity, and Superman has 2 books, Batman has 3 books, and Wonder Woman only has 1. I mean, you think with all the popularity surrounding Wonder Woman, she would at least have another title or something like Batman, Superman do. Also, the books were, also Greg Rucka returned to Wonder Woman, which got a lot of fans hyped for it because his first run on Wonder Woman is in such high regard amongst the fans. And of course, he had a really good opening arc in the odd number issues where he brought back several classic Wonder Woman characters, Cheetah, Etta Candy, and Steve Trevor. And I'm glad he brought Steve Trevor back into the Wonder Woman book because I've always associated Steve Trevor with the Wonder Woman character, and it was weird during the New 52 how they pretty much made him an Argus agent, just like the liaison to the Justice League. That felt a little weird, but I think once Rucka brought him back into the main Wonder Woman title, he really knew how to utilize the character, which is great. Also, I will say this, it starts off with some the Wonder Woman series does start off with some major revelations that while are going to confuse a lot of longtime readers, it does feel a bit more new reader friendly, which is fantastic, and I think that's a good way for people who've never read a Wonder Woman comic to jump on with this series. Number 3 on my list is Green Arrow. Okay, initially I was skeptical about picking up Green Arrow because I wasn't really a big fan of Ben Percy's initial arc on Green Arrow. However, since Rebirth is kind of like changing the game, like reintroducing old things, I did give the Rebirth one-shot try, and I was super excited for that because one thing, they brought back his romance with Black Canary, which is something the New 52 didn't do. Also, they got rid of all his money, which is a good thing because it harkens back to the original like soft reboot that Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams did to Green Arrow during the Green Arrow Green Lantern crossover Hard Traveling Heroes that had Oliver go from being a rich billionaire to a street level hero looking out for the little guy. So that was a nice way to sort of relaunch Green Arrow. Also, I've been enjoying this title a lot, which is saying something because the New 52 Green Arrow it was really weird because I can only remember one story I ever really liked of the New 52 series, and that was the Jeff Lemire run. However, this one did a good job reintroducing old concepts such as the Green Arrow and Black Canary relationship, and that got a lot of fans hyped because they are one of DC's most recognizable power couples. Also, Black Canary wasn't the only classic character to return. Ben Percy brought back a number of classic Green Arrow characters: John Diggle, Roy Harper, Henry Fife, and Oliver's sister Emiko, who now goes by the alias Red Arrow in this title. Oh, and if you read Mike Grell's run, then you'll know the character Eddie Fears. He appears. Fierce. He appears in this title too, which is great. Also in the first story arc, Ben Percy does a good job setting up the new big bad for the Green Arrow title, which is the Ninth Circle. Honestly, if you're a fan of all the classic elements of the Green Arrow character, no money in acting as a street level hero, his relationship with Black Canary, then I would say that this definitely hits all those points and it's something that you need to check out. Number 2 on my list is Titans. Rebirth is all about embracing DC's legacy, and the return of the Wally West that everyone knows and loves was a great way to get people on board. When I read the Rebirth one-shot and I saw Wally come back for the first time, and then when he finally came back and hugged Barry, that was the moment that I knew I am definitely behind this. And when they were announcing all their titles, they had to keep a number of things about Titans secret. In fact, the cover for this title, for its Rebirth one-shot, was blocked out because, of course, Wally's on it. And I think having Wally after Wally comes back and having him on this title makes more sense than giving him his own solo or putting him in the Flash, because Wally needs to connect with this world that he's lost. And what better way for someone to reconnect than with old friends? Of course, in Titans, we get a lineup of the very first Teen Titans title. We got Wally West as the Flash, Dick Grayson as Nightwing, Donna Troy, Roy Harper as Arsenal, and Garth as Aqualad, and Lilith as Omen. Honestly, I like how they went back to the very first lineup from the very first Teen Titans title, rather than the classic Wolfman Perez lineup that fans know about. Of course, this is obviously because they went with a different version of this lineup for their Teen Titans title, and of course Cyborg is on the Justice League right now, but still, it's a great idea to go back to that, to harken back to that. And even though Wally comes back in the first story arc, his life isn't exactly the way he left it, especially his relationship with Linda Park, which I really don't want to get into right now because of spoilers. Also, Titans had a great prequel title to it called Titans Hunt. The prequel and this title do a good job reintroducing and updating elements from the very first Teen Titans title from way back in the Silver Age, when it was really just a team founded by sidekicks. Also, if you get the trade for Titans Hunt, when you get to the end of the book, where, you know, writers and artists talk about like behind the scenes stuff, you'll find out that several scenes in this book were originally drawn with were sketched with Wally West, but then they took them out just to kind of create this air of mystery that someone else is missing as the Titans came back together, because obviously they had to keep Wally's return a secret for when the Rebirth one-shot came out. Nevertheless, Wally West's return is what really solidified Rebirth for me. It's what got me behind the event, and I can say that for a lot of people, because Wally was the Flash probably for a lot of people my age who read comics. They probably knew Wally was the Flash, and now that he's back, it feels like, kind of makes DC feel like home again, and I really recommend, and that's why Titans is number 2 on my list. Okay, time to reveal my number 1 Rebirth title. This is the title that I have consistently liked every issue since it came out. Superman. And I am so happy I'm saying that, because Superman is my favorite DC hero, and I am really glad that his title is my favorite DC comic being published right now. And I'm glad that this book is doing well too, because the New 52 Superman was at best average. I can remember reading both Action Comics and Superman both on and off again. It was so confusing. I only came back for like certain story arcs that interested me, but then after those were done, I was like, okay, dropping these again. But the Superman title for Rebirth is fantastic. First off, I think the main thing that does separate this title from other Superman titles in the past is because finally Superman has a new role in life. He is a dad. He and Lois Lane are raising their son, John Lane Kent, who is the new Superboy. And there's actually a cool idea behind the way they've structured Superman and Action Comics, is that Action Comics will focus more on Clark's solo time as Superman, but the Superman title will focus more on Clark's relationship with his son and trying to be a superhero while also trying to teach his son how to be a hero and use his powers responsibly. And the interesting thing is that the book's creative team, Peter Tomasi and Patrick Gleason, they both have children, and they've used their experiences as dads to help them write the John Kent character, which is brilliant. And also, this title really shows a lot of heart in it, and I think that's something that has been missing from the Superman comics for a while. At first, this book might seem hard to jump onto, because originally it was believed that the Superman we're reading in Rebirth was really the pre-New 52 Superman before Flashpoint, and came to our Earth and stuff, see the miniseries Superman, Lois and Clark. But then we find out that both this Superman and the New 52 Superman were actually much closer through the story arc Superman Reborn, which tried to create a more streamlined continuity for the Superman mythos. Nevertheless, about continuity issues aside, this series is very well written, and like I've said, it has a lot of heart, which is something that the Superman titles have been missing. And this title made me love my favorite DC hero again. And honestly, if you are a Superman fan, then you should really be reading this title, because it is amazing, it's well written, and I've enjoyed every issue since it came out. Alright, that's it for my top 5 Rebirth titles. What did you guys think? Do you agree or disagree with any of my statements? What are your top 5 titles? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you again for watching. Remember to stay subscribed and notified to check out my other videos. Thank you again for watching. I'm Spider-Man 991 saying this. See you later.